played by face, man. Always paying attention to this.
I'm more wild in this.
Oh yeah,
Not even a wild.
this is where I started with Friday.
Before I get the gang over here.
So they start freestyling.
Yeah.
Start speaking in rhyme.
I would be rushing. I would be
Or like scratching while you're talking. Like trying to catch that. You ever get there? I get there. It's like a little skill type shit.
Yeah.
I think you're about to have one of those moments. I can feel it.
You guys had RSVP for this? Like,
I'm not sure. I think it was promoted on the Facebook page. And highlight Twitter, Instagram. You know, they shared it internally. I don't know. There's another girl in here called Marcus. I can reach out to her though. I'd be like, what was the RSVP?
good.
Sammy.
That.
Nice to meet you. All right.
Work here?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Instructor for INT. INT is 2 courses condensed into one, where they meet twice a week. It's a beginner's class and intro to
Okay, cool.
cover some good stuff today, huh?
What's that?
Gotta cover some good stuff today.
Yes, we got 17 on the stream watching.
Oh, right now?
Right now.
Okay.
We got like 4 here. And I don't know if people are going to show up late, but I think we should rock it out pretty soon, man. You know what I mean? It looks solid, though. It looks great. That's just the live people there. Oh, cool. So what do you think, man? You gonna wait like 5 minutes to get started at like 6:20? When you push it till 6:30? How you feeling?
Well, we should probably get to the bank of seats, right?
Yeah, that's what I would love to get. I don't want to keep the people online waiting too much. It seems like it's
Is
building.
there a chat room or anything? We don't. Or are you kind of selling it?
Let me see if Blake can. Yeah, one. You just say something to the mic.
Is this mic right here?
It is the mic right there.
Are we gonna hear it?
That is a very good question. Let me see if Lady can assist us with that. Yo.
Oh, you have echo.
Stop.
This people watching. There's like 15 people watching right now.
What the hell is this guy?
You're like, facts. You could even be like, yo, welcome, bro.
What up, YouTube? This is Serato, broadcasting live from Scratch Academy. Just waiting for a few more bumps on seats. Thank you for your patience. We'll be starting probably about 10 minutes. I have no idea why I'm holding the mic up to my mouth either. Just wants to have it.
So precious, it's yours, it's mine. Only time. My life. Am I wrong to assume if she can't dance, if she can't hoop? Am I wrong to say if she can't dance, if she can't hoop? I never want to waste your time. So precious, it's yours, it's mine. It's so precious.
Got it.
It's yours, it's mine.
Okay.
You can pull the you're like, you are lying. Yo, Matt, we talked before. Robzilla. Like we had talked about the last, the Greenpoint. I was gonna attend the last session you did in Greenpoint.
Okay, cool.
When I was talking about the SX2 and whatnot, you're like, it's broken.
Yeah.
Joel's friend.
Joel.
Yeah, come meet Dave. That's Matt.
Hey.
Thanks, man. We're stoked.
Thanks for coming there.
Yeah. I need this in my life.
Nice. Yeah, definitely.
I heard you can like literally alter like the tension on the fader and like the bounce back.
Correct.
My brother wants it.
I heard you're giving that away.
Check. 1, 2.
Matt, is it better be looking close to you or better be looking at the screen?
It's up to you guys. I think you probably want to see the screen actually, so it might be a little bit on feng shui, but I will oscillate.
Detroit only.
Love Serato DJ.
Mike.
That's good.
1, 2, 1, 2.
You can go louder.
Can you go louder?
Hello. Hello.
Whoa.
Okay.
We do a try? Alright, so we're gonna get this thing started. What up, everybody? Welcome to Serato DJ Academy, New York City. I'm Dirty Digits. I'm the director. If I don't know you guys, welcome. If this is your first time here. If it's not your first time here, welcome back. Basically, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to really build a sense of community. We're really kind of fortunate to have Serato based out in Brooklyn, so it just kind of makes sense that we start a kind of continuing relationship. This is going to be the first of many sort of advanced Serato workshops. So stay in the loop. We're going to kind of try to do these, every semester, every so often, just to kind of show you guys what's new and else out want to give a shout out to Recloose for coming in and hanging out with us today. This is really his show. I just kind of wanted to do the intro to say what up to you guys and welcome you to the space. I don't know if you guys can hear me who are listening to the stream, but this is our first time streaming this as well. So if you guys miss out on one in the future, there's always going to be a link where you guys can kind of check in, even worldwide. So what up, everybody who's watching us on the screen right now? See you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us as well. Thanks for being a little patient. But yeah, you guys are more than welcome. If you can't see the turntables right here, we have the seats for you to be comfortable, but you can kind of crowd around, you know, kind of get a better view of anything as well. So let's give it up for Recloose.
Well, thank you so much for coming out. Thanks to Scratch Academy. Thanks, Dan, for having me. And shout out to all my New Zealand homies from Serato. I don't know if anybody's watching, but they might actually be tuned in, possibly. So as Dan mentioned, this is going to be more or less an advanced workshop. We're going to cover some of the basics quickly, and then talk about some of the newer releases, as well as some features that are kind of under the hood that you may not have played with before. We're going to cover a lot of stuff and relatively quickly, and hopefully in the future we can maybe pick this apart a little bit and say, hey, you know, we're going to just do a flip workshop this time so we can really get a little more in depth into each feature. Hopefully everyone's got a handout when they walked in. I'll be back with some if you guys need it. And this is a little cheat sheet because again, there's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about, and this is hopefully going to help everyone's retention. It's quite hard to take all this in and remember it, so you've got this to refer back to. So quickly, agenda. So we're going to have first intro, overview. So basically what I'm demoing on tonight is Serato DJ 1.9 and the DJM S9 Pioneer mixer here, a relatively new mixer, very hot piece of property that a lot of people are raving about, so we'll check that out. We're going to look at some basics. We're going to talk about beat grids, very important. And then we're going to look at some of the features that tie into beat grids, like beat jump, slicer, flip. We're going to touch briefly on the iZotope effects that are built into Serato DJ. We're going to spend some time on key detection, MIDI mapping, and pitch and time DJ. All really powerful tools that allow you to be pretty creative with the software. The brand new release, Serato DJ 1.9. We're going to talk a little bit about Pulse Locker, and maybe have a discussion about streaming DJing. Does it work for you? Doesn't it? What's good about it, right? I think everyone might be a little bit scratching their head. How does this work? So we'll look at that. Have a quick look at Serato video, and then I've left a whole bunch at the end, features, tips, tricks. We can talk about it. Any number of those things in depth or briefly, or not at all. Like for instance, do you want to talk about sync tonight? Maybe, probably not, but it's in there if you want to hit on it. So, okay. So before we get stuck in, let me just do a brief survey. How many of us are currently Serato users? Excellent. How many of us are currently Serato DJ users? Okay, so we got a couple of Scratch Live holdouts. Scratch Live, I didn't see you there. Okay, no, cool. All good. How many of us are like dedicated controller DJs? A couple of us. And I'm guessing the rest of us are DBS DJs using most likely control vinyl, perhaps CDJs. Yeah? Okay. Very good. Okay, so let me just talk you through the basics of Serato DJ. Being that most of you guys are on Serato DJ, you'll be familiar with what the GUI looks like here, the graphic user interface. But if you're not, let me walk you through it. So I'm hovering my mouse around here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I think for Scratch Live users, one of the most confusing things was this area here with the key points and the loops and what are all these new little lines here with numbers, etc. The way this works is you have 3 tabs. 2 tabs if you don't have flip, 3 tabs if you have flip. So this first tab allows you to access 8 cue points versus 5 in Scratch Live. These are rearrangeable. You can name them if you want. You can order them chronologically as a setup setting. And below that, you have access to your first 2 saved loops here. This confuses people a little bit. Why am I seeing loops here as well as cue points? The reason is we don't want you to have to go to this other tab to get to your most valuable loops. You can access everything right there. Below that, the next tab is the flip tab, and and that's where we save any of our flips. We're going to talk about flip. Basically, flip is a feature that allows you to create edits and save those edits as metadata to the track. So they're non-destructive edits. You can have 6 per track. On the bottom here, we have the loop tab, so you can have up to 8 saved loops, and as well if you want to create manual loops here, in, out, etc., having doubling, on and on. What else can I show you here? Here we have a little icon for pitch and time. That looks different too if you have the original key lock, which looks like a note. This looks, I guess, like a little chain. So that's the pitch and time key lock, on or off. We have sync here. We also have this area here, which is new to 1.8. We're looking at the key information next to the BPM. And below this, we have a little note, little double eighth note there. And that enables key sync, which we'll talk about, which is a really cool feature. And the left and right arrows allow you to key shift if you have pitch and time DJ. Other things that come standard with Serato DJ. Beat grids is a feature, really important feature we'll talk about in 1 minute. The SP6 sample player, so you have 4 banks of 6 samples. You've got 2 different modes here where you can get a little bit more in depth into the editing. And we're not going to talk about this too much tonight, but especially for club DJs, radio DJs, this can be a lot of fun, as well as for people that want to just load it up with samples and, like, say, have a jam on top. You want to load some drum sounds on top of there. That can be a lot of fun as well. And that could be actually another workshop we do just on the SP6. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do. You've got stems, not the stems format, but if you have your own stems with your own production or anything like that, you can throw those in there, sync them off, and do some really cool stuff. What else we have? 4-deck mixing, which can be quite cool. That's really dependent on your hardware. So in this case, we don't really have access to that because we're using a 2-channel S-Line. But if you're using like a Pioneer DJM 900, either SRT or Nexus, for instance, you have 4 channels there. You can rock 4 decks, as well as any of the 4-channel controllers. A lot of cool stuff you can do with that. Sync comes standard with Serato DJ, and we, as you guys probably know, work with a lot of different hardware manufacturers. At this point, we're working with Rain, the OGs, Newmark, Denon, Pioneer, Allen & Heath, Akai, Reloop, Hercules, Gemini, lots of different hardware manufacturers that we partner up with. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes. Let's start with the basics, build it from the ground up. Beat grids. Who's using beat grids? A couple of us. Shaking hands, sorta ish, right. Can anybody tell me what a beat grid is? What's a beat grid?
It's like a cue point. You're putting like it's matching to the beat. Like
It's matching to the beat. It's telling us, okay, so the software knows what the BPM is. It's analyzing the track, and it's basically like marking off where the songs, where the measures lay, where the beats lay. So I'm sure I wrote it a lot better on here. What's a beat grid? Grid overlaid on the track, linked to the BPM and the phrasing of the song. Why do we need to use beat grids? A whole bunch of reasons. Beat grids allow us to do auto loops, loop rolls, beat jump, slicer, any tempo length effects. If we want to use the quantization feature in Serato DJ, we need beat grids, quantize cue points, sync, snap to loop on flip. These are all really important creative features that rely heavily on the beat grids. So let's just have a quick look here at some beat grids. Now, when you're analyzing your library, I'm just going to unplug very quickly from the mixer so you can see here. We get a little drop-down menu, and it says Analyze Files. And the drop-down menu shows Set Keys, Set Beat Grid, BPM. So you can choose one or the other. If you're analyzing for the first time, I'd recommend doing everything. If you've already done all your beat grids and BPMs, you could uncheck that and set the key. But the reason why I'm showing this to you is this is where you go and analyze your library. It's going to put the BPM in and the beat grid in. Now, Serato is pretty good at laying in the beat grids on computer-created music, anything made by a machine, computer, laptop, MPC, sequencer, whatever. But occasionally, it does get it wrong. and it can be a little bit frustrating, but I'm going to show you guys how you can fix those beat grids very quickly and easily. So, I'll tell you what, I'm going to unplug one more time. And I've got a song here I'm going to analyze. If I load this up. Okay, what I'm going to do first is delete the beat grid. And then I'll analyze that, and let's see what Serato DJ does with it. Okay, now plug back in. Loading up. Okay, so let's have a look here. Now we see a little red line with a number 1, and what that's telling us is that is the first beat of the first measure. The problem is, of course, what's the problem?
It doesn't start on the 1.
It doesn't start on the 1. There's a fill before it, right? So it's analyzed it, it's seen the audio, it said, you know what, this is where the beginning of the song is. Technically it is, but that's not the first measure. So what we need to do is edit that, delete the beat grid, and rewrite it in. Now I've given you guys some key commands on there that you're not going to remember right now, but if you go back and refer to this, you can commit it to muscle memory. You'll do it over and over again, you won't even think about it. You do it in the middle of the gig, it's super easy to edit. And those key commands are Alt-Space, and basically that turns on edit grid mode. Zoom out a little bit so we can see. I'm going to hit delete twice to clear the beat grid. And then what I'm going to do is zoom right in on that first cue point because I know that's the 1. And I'm going to hit X, which is set beat marker. So now we can see there's a little 1 there. I can hit return. That's going to commit that edit to the track. The beat grid's now locked in. And I think the easiest way to check that the beat grid is right is to go to the end of the track and just see, is it staying on, is it drifted? So we can see there, bar 100 is still banging on with the kick is. Now, occasionally you might have to adjust it because it's drifted over time. So when basically we've created a beat marker, that's going to stay there. But the rest of these markers you can slide over like this. And what you can do, the shortcut key there is the arrow keys. Okay, so I might need to like move it right up to make sure that it's tight on the beat. And again, I hit enter, and that will save it. So with a tight beat grid, now I can use all these features that I mentioned before. Now sometimes people, how many of us in here are playing music that's created by live human beings, not using drum machines and right? Playing funk, soul, whatever, the roots of hip hop, etc. You can create beat grids for these types of tracks. Unfortunately, it's not an automated process. You have to do it manually, but I'll show you guys quickly how you can do that. So let's take old Players Association track here. I've actually done it on here, but I'll walk you through it. So same trick, Alt-Space to enter edit grid mode. Let's zoom right in. And I'm going to hit X on the 1, X. And I'm literally going to hit X to create a beat marker on the 1 of every bar. So I'm gonna dance around. I'm gonna hit X, 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 etc., etc. It's a little bit time consuming. I can see why people might complain about that process, but it is worth putting the time in because you can do some really cool stuff with it. Now, a couple suggestions. If you have a song, say, that's got a really nice break on it, you don't want to do the beat grid the whole song, don't beat grid the whole song, just beat grid the break. Because then you can use that part with a slicer and other things like that. Also, if we have any songs that are like tempo transition tracks, it's a really helpful thing to do. So you basically would set the beat marker at the original tempo, and then sort of zoom forward to wherever the tempo change happens, and then put those beat markers in there until the transition stops, put the last beat marker in.
to whatever the final tempo is. So that's the way to do it. Any questions so far? Yes, sir.
If you were just going to do the break, you put the one at the start of the break, like you just put the one at the top of the track, or should I like take the one that's
It
there?
doesn't, yeah, it totally doesn't matter, man. Like you could put the one wherever you want, because then everything else just reverts to like negative bars. But if you're not using a beat grid, yeah, if the break's in the middle of the track, just put the one there, it's fine. It's not really gonna affect it.
And then one other little thing, when you were moving one, with the arrow keys, was there, when you moved that one, was it only moving that one, or was it moving all of them?
Yeah, so it's moving them all proportionally,
Right.
but it's holding the beat marker.
Anyone that you set with an X stays there?
Yep, the red ones will stay there.
So like an Ableton
Ableton
is
users,
stretching.
exactly. Ableton's like the warp marker doesn't move with the transient.
Right, okay.
Something like that. Yes, sir.
Do you still need Ableton?
No. No. But one thing I will mention that's important is like a lot of people don't see the beat grid, and that's because they hate sync. They're you know, it's like a complete offense to their whole aesthetic of DJ. I don't need sync. I'm gonna turn sync off. Where's my beat grids? Well, unfortunately, it's not even unfortunately. You just have to turn sync on here. It doesn't mean you're actually using it. It only means that if you had to use it, you could. Basically, what I'm trying to say is to be able to see the beat grids, you have to at least turn on simple sync in the sync preferences. And now your beat grids will turn on. So, oh yeah.
Say you're talking about like a tempo transition track or something, the beat grid is always going to run all the way throughout the song, right? Say you were at 100 BPMs and then it starts speeding up or whatever. It's just going to be accurate for the first 100 BPMs, and then you can't set it to be like a 32 bar beat grid and then it stops, right?
I mean, the beat grid's going to carry on no matter what.
But it's going to be accurate after the tempo bars.
Yeah. You just want to check it. You just want to, like I showed you before, you want to go to the end of the track or the middle of the track and make sure it doesn't drift.
No, but if you had like a tempo transition,
right,
it would just be accurate for the first, then be like a 32 bar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so let's just say this a song starts in 120, it plays in 120 for 2 minutes, and then there's like 30 seconds of a transition. That's a pretty long transition, or whatever. And it goes to like 80. So for those 30 seconds, you're going to want to put a beat marker for every bar. And then when it gets to the destination tempo, put one more beat marker, and then make sure that all the grids after that, all the grid conforms to after. But you don't have to put beat marker in the rest of the way. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But you're saying you make it accurate for the whole track and do it. It ends up being accurate, it just changes.
It changes, yeah. So you see the tempo change and everything as you go. The reason why I'm doing it on every beat on that track is because it's not a clean tempo transition. It's like a wavering tempo. It's a live dance. So there's always going to be a little anomalies and whatnot. Cool. Any other questions before we move on? Yeah.
So just to reiterate the whole tempo transition tracks. So should you set the beat grid to where the final tempo is? Say it's a 100 to a 120, right? Do you set it starting where the track starts at 120, or in that transition period? So say I want to use like a beat effect.
Yeah.
I obviously want it to be like an echo effect, and I want it to be in time with when I transition that track to that BPM that it's transitioned to. Where do I set the beat marker?
Okay, so one beat marker at the original tempo, as many beat markers as you need in the transition period. I mean, if it's going from 100 to 120 and it's a smooth arc and it's changing the whole time, then you're gonna need to put one on every single bar. But if it's like the first 20, whatever, the first 32 bars are at 120 and it doesn't change, you don't need to put beat markers on there. You only need to put the next one when the tempo starts changing. Yeah, and then put the beat markers in while it's changing. If it gets to the destination tempo, leave it there. Yeah, and then everything will conform. Like all these different features we're about to check out will conform to the changes in that. The other cool thing is, I don't think we're gonna get to sync tonight, but like if you got tracks synced up, you can roll your song, and if you have like basically synced one song to a tempo transition track, that other song is gonna automatically follow the one that you've done. And it's there's little cool tricks with it as well. But it's quite powerful. So once you've got it set, it's worth putting the time in. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, so let's check out Beat Jump. So some of us might not see Beat Jump in Serato DJ. That's because it's by default it's turned off. So you want to go to Setup, and DJ preferences, and there's a little option here, show beat jump control. So we're gonna take that. And then what we see here is a line of numbers and arrows. So in essence, what we're looking at is beat values going from 1/32nd beats, which is a very small amount, to 32 beats, which is 8 bars. These arrows here will slide the scale, and then these 2 arrows here will actually execute the jump. So what beat jump does is it moves forward or backward in a song without losing the beat. It keeps it in time. This is helpful for house DJs like myself, where I'll maybe ride a mix, and then I'll mix into the next track, but it's still playing the intro, and the intro is boring, and I want to get right to where the meat and potatoes of the track is. So here's an example. What beat jump does is it moves forward or backward in a song without losing the beat. So we just got drums rolling for a while. I want to get to the chords. And you guys can hopefully see that playhead jumping back and forth, a little white arrow on the waveform. I want to go back to the drums. So I want to go to the vocal. Really easy way to kind of create an edit on the fly, move around the track. And this is me using 8 bar beat jumps, 32 beat jumps. So they're the biggest beat jump you can do. It's quite drastic. So it's fun though. If you got distinct sections of the song, you can like ghost parts in and out, rearrange vocals in that kind of way. 8 bar beat jumps. I think this is really, beat jump is really something that's worth experimenting with, because you'll come up with different ideas depending on the style of music and the different intervals that you're using. So you can obviously very easily repeat parts just by hitting it on the beat, or just go. Simple stuff like that. And if you want to get real freaky, you can try to mess with some of these smaller intervals. So like the 1/4 beat interval is quite cool. We've kind of unofficially dubbed this the cheap juggle. People that can beat juggle for real fun things, shaking their heads. H. Yes. Quick example. Actually, you know what I'm going to do with that track? I'll show you guys just real quick. So this is me just using a 1/4 beat. I just got a back jump with it. Now,
turn that off, Rolly.
That's how you've been doing all these years. That's an alien technology 10 years ago.
Same trick, using that 1/4 beat to take very well-known songs and swing them out. Ready? So same thing, 1/4 beat, jumping ahead, give it that shuffle feel. Literally just slicing off the last little 16th note. Let's give it that shuffle feel. So we're going from 1/4 kind of 3/4, 6, 7. So yeah, it's a little gimmicky. It's a little beat on the head, but one reason why it's actually pretty cool is if we have any sample-based producers here. Dan is pushing. Oh, that is. Anybody that's like in a habit like me of ripping records into Serato DJ and using this as kind of the starting point for generating ideas, these tools can be really cool. I'm not going to sit here trying to execute beat jump just to see if an idea works for my sample track. I can use this beat jump feature to take a song that's in 4/4 and make it swing, or Alternatively, take a song that's in 6/8 and make it into 4/4 just by adding those slices to it. It's a really cool way to experiment and come up with ideas that, while I love the Ableton, I love the MPC, they don't have these features. I think it's a lot quicker creative process when you just start throwing stuff in and experimenting with things like BeatJump. The other really cool thing BeatJump does is loop shifting. Not too many people know this trick, but I'm going to show you guys what you can do. I'm going to throw a little loop on here. That's a little nice 2-beat loop. Listen to it, it's going to get pretty boring after about 10 seconds. But what I can start doing is subtly shifting it. I'm going to zoom out of the waveform so you can see what I'm doing. So I've got BeatJump on, I've set it to 1/2 the beat. So it's just me messing around. You can see you can take quite a static loop and move it around and do interesting things with it. So it's not just playing over and over again. And again, if you're ripping records into Serato, that's quite a cool trick. It's an easy way to come up with ideas without like having to go through a whole lot of work. You start hitting buttons. And suggestion, record it all. So you guys probably know that you can, depending on your hardware, but you can basically record everything in Serato DJ. So if you are, say, messing with samples and developing routines and recording a mix, you can record all that right within Serato. You just basically set your input source. It's going to, by default, save to your Serato folder and store it in your recorded crate. If you set the input level here, hit record, and basically name whatever the file would be, and hit save. So if you're coming up with ideas, I highly recommend recording everything you do because you might have a moment of brilliance. Yes?
Is there a way to, like, I guess, BeatJump and take a live edit, and then once you're done performing, basically go to like would be what part of the song would be had it been playing normally? Like, play it out. So, like, let's say you just like edit for like 30 seconds, but basically, once you're done, go forward 30 seconds or should be time.
That's a good question. I don't think so. I mean, there's slip mode. I don't think slip mode is going to work for that. So, yeah, if you had a routine, I guess what you want to do is just have a cue point ready. You get where you're going to jump to set up. There's 32 bars. I'm going to do my little beat jump trick. And I want to come out of it here at bar 64 when your cue point's on bar 64.
Or a flip that makes that happen.
Or a flip that makes that happen. Yeah. You could. You could. That's interesting. So what you could do is you could be executing a beat jump with a flip on. So the flip could be doing some weird thing jumping around, but your beat jump is jumping in.
Flip is just like really simple. That is to skip through stuff. So if you finish your routine at one spot, you have a flip marker there that jumps to where you want it to go to.
Yeah.
Flip can record beat jump thing as well as people.
No. Flip cannot record a beat jump action. That would be pretty cool. And we will talk about flip momentarily. Let's first touch on Slicer. Now, Slicer is a feature that is, unfortunately, it's hardware specific. So if you have a controller or a mixer that has one of these 8-pad configurations, or you have Serato remote on your iPad, you will have access to Slicer. And what Slicer does is it divides a song into sections. By default, those sections or slices are 1 beat. You can change the size of the slices. And basically, it's going to play through the song, but it's going to allow you to jump back and forth and hit slices. And when you stop playing the slices, it's going to pick up wherever it would have been had you not been slicing. Now, there's 2 modes. There's regular slicer mode, which will play through a song. And you can sort of jump around within the section where the slices are and continue playing, or you can use slicer loop mode. Let me do a little example here. So personally, I find, and I've written this on your little cheat sheet here, that I think I did. Yes, half of beat, also known as 8 notes, yield really cool results, especially with songs that are kind of in like 100 or 140 tempo. Works really well. And the way you do that, let me just give you guys an example. So let's just do the break. Okay, so regular slicer. Okay, so right now, I don't know if you guys can see this, but the slices are on the beat. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the kind of the problem with that, it's hard to get funky. I mean, like a funky drummer is never just going to play quarter notes, right? They need some 8 notes, some 16 notes. That's cool for about 7 seconds, and then you want some other variation. So, the trick is holding shift and hitting the parameter left button. I've written on the cheat sheet. Shift left. And what that does is it halves the size of the slice. That slicer with a break, it's a lot of fun. You can use that with any kind of music though. It's also, again, great for sample chops. So you take like classic. But the point is, you can really get in the zone. You can find a really cool sample, start chopping it up. And what I don't know if anybody caught it before, but I was using it. So using some of the key shift tricks as well with the slicer, you can come up with way better stuff than I just did, for sure. Okay, any questions about slicer before we move on? Yes, sir.
I had a quick question. When you did the shift left and you changed the parameter, I guess, did that change it on the drum pads? Did it change like what sounds we're hitting? So it does, up, right?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, so for instance, in the slice, I was using slicer loop mode. And so when you half the size of the slice, the loop's going to half as well, because the total of 8 slices when they're half a beat is only going to be a bar.
So was it hitting on 8th notes before or 16th notes?
It was, when it starts, it's hitting on quarter notes, beats. And if you have it, it goes to 8th notes or half a beat. Yeah. The other thing I forgot to mention, hitting the parameter left and right on that will also change the quantization of the slices, which basically means how quickly they play back, how quickly they roll.
And that's 2 different options. how many slices there are and how fast
Two
they
different
roll.
things, yeah.
Okay.
So shift arrows is going to change the size of the slice. Shift parameter arrows, and then just the parameter arrows by themselves will change how quickly the slices roll, which you can get kind of freaky with as well. Any other questions about slicing? Cool. Let's check out Flip. Anybody using Flip? Few of us, cool. So Flip is super exciting for me because it's like having a poor man's MPC living inside my Serato DJ. It's 29 bucks, and basically you can use it offline, meaning you don't need to be plugged into any Serato hardware. It's very easy just to create cue points, be it on your computer or just with a keyboard to 5. Unfortunately, you only have on your computer keyboard, you only have access to the first 5 cue points, unless you want to use the mouse. But it's a quick and easy way to come up with edits, come up with ideas on the fly. So the way it works is it's a sequencer. It sequences your hot cue action. So if I'm playing something back in a certain way, so let me give you guys some examples. I can record anything I want to do. So let's start with the basics. So like one way we'll throw them out there. Any ideas? Why would we use Flip? Like a basic way to use Flip?
Just cut out sections of songs to skip from maybe an intro, I want to go straight to the chorus, or from an intro to the last verse, or cut out Nicki Minaj's verse in the middle of the song or something like
Right.
that.
So these kind of macro edits, big edits.
Yeah, just big jumps. That's what I use it for most.
Yeah, cool. And that's a super functional use.
Or if there's a 4-bar intro in the beginning of the song and I want to turn it into an 8-bar intro,
right.
Just jump back to the top one time.
Yeah. So for anybody on YouTube that didn't hear that, one way to use Flip, and I think that the most useful way, utilitarian way, is to take sections out. You want to change the arrangement. You want to take out verse 2 because it's so horrible and you like the way it feels when you go from the intro straight to the chorus. You can program that very easily. Or the intro is only 4 bars and you want to extend that intro without having to auto loop it and unloop it. You can create a Flip to do that very easily. Here's a good trick as well for creating intros. And this is from my main man, Matt Perry, aka Cut Corners, my cohort on the West Coast. And he came up with this one where King Kunta, Kendrick Lamar, no intro. It just starts right into lyrics, right?
I got a bone to pick. I don't want you monkey mouth motherfucker sitting in my throne again.
But the great thing about this song is like his flow is very kind of sporadic, so these big open parts. So Matt was thinking, you know what? I wonder if I can sort of Frankenstein an intro together. I can find those little pieces, put them together, and sure enough.
I'm mad.
So hopefully you guys can see that. Basically, so what we've done is we've created a Flip. It jumps from every kind of open part of the song, put those 3 parts together, and you've got an intro. You can ride that, mix in the next track, or whatever.
I got a bone to pick.
And then drop it.
I don't want you monkey mouth motherfucker sitting in my throne again.
Like that. Another cool thing about Flip is you have 6 flips that you can save. They save right into the track. So I mentioned before, it saves as metadata. It's non-destructive. It's not actually saving audio. It's literally just saving when you jump around from cue point to cue point. It's actually saving the time. So if you were to create a bunch of, say, odd placed cue points to come up with a cool Flip, create the Flip, you can get rid of those cue points and still be able to trigger the Flip. Just as an example, if you want to get kind of left field on it. Having 6 flips is really cool, especially like, you know, again, I sometimes relate to Ableton. So I think of launching flips sometimes like launching clips in Ableton in the session view. So we take Funky Drummer. On this one, I've got 4 different flips. And they're just variations on the beat. lot of variety. And if you want, you can also kind of create little micro flips and you refashion a song. You can kind of create an arrangement live just by jumping between those different flips.
How you did the reverse thing?
Okay, so yeah, you pick that up. The sensor motion, aka the reverse, is also recorded. Yeah. And disco nerds forget what's that?
Make clean edits that way.
You can make clean edits as well. So if you're quite diligent, patient, you know where all the swears are. You can mark the swears with cues and kind of know when they're coming. And yeah, absolutely. Good, great radio tool for sure. Great for disco edits. So take kind of well-known songs and then make your own edit. Intros for songs. And this is the one that a lot of people are bugging out on, especially like hip hop heads, sample heads. DJ Scratch is killing this feature just based off of him going through his library, finding his productions and then the samples or other samples that he knows from productions and recreating them, reanimating them into whatever the beat maker made with the producer. So here's an example. Again, credit to Matt Perry, Cut Corners for doing this one. Shout out to Jay Dilla and the iZotope, of course. Hopefully you guys see what I'm saying. Like it's a $29 MPC for Serato. Like it's super easy. Throw the tracks in there, hit record, and just start jamming. You know, you'll come up with some crazy ideas. I do it on the plane, whatever, anywhere. You do it on the train, get crazy, and basically produce. Let me just walk you through the process. So what we want to do is we're going to click on this little flip tab here up top, and it opens this little drop-down bar. And there's really not too many controls to it. There's a record button, which you can engage with the computer and the mouse, or by hitting the parameter left button on your controller if you have that. That'll turn it on and off. And to be honest, that's really useful because if you're making looping flips, it's integral that you hit the loop out point on the beat. So there's another note about flip. It's brutally honest. It doesn't quantize. If you're off, the flip is off. Okay. Before I was showing you guys slicer, I can be pounding this in any which way and it's still going to sound kind of funky because it's quantized. Not the case with flip. It's very true to what you're doing. So you're usually going to have to try a couple times and make sure you hit the out point on the loop if you're making a looping flip bang on the beat. So let me go back to this one here. That was by accident, but that shows you how quickly you can make one. But I don't like that. I'm going to double click. So let me just explain this here. So when the record button is blinking, it's armed, it's ready to go, but it's not actually going to record until you hit the key point. So I can display this. So I did a really quick flip, but all I did was I record armed it, I hit the first cue point, I knew it was recording, I played the whole sequence, literally a bar I think, and then at the end of the bar, I hit the same parameter left button to stop the recording. Now if I hit the record button again, it's going to overwrite what I just did. So if I like that, I want to hit save. And it's going to save it to the next available flip slot, you name it whatever you want. But having the parameter button there is quite useful, especially if you're trying to master something that's a little bit complicated and you want to kind of just quickly overwrite. Okay, I screwed that one up. Double click, overwrite it, ready to go again. And then when you kind of nail it, you can save it and put it in there. Flip's it's a hands-on thing, so I recommend you guys really give it a go, test it out, try it. What I also neglected to mention is we got a bunch of free stuff to give away to people, including some licenses. So hopefully everyone signed the sign-up sheet. We got a bunch of shirts, control vinyl, and we're gonna give 5 licenses away of your choice. So 5 winners get 2 licenses of their choice. So Flip can be one of those. And it's $29 if you don't win. Any questions about Flip? Yeah.
Is it metadata that's saved to the actual track?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. So, and what's really cool, I've neglected to mention, so if you say your friend has Serato DJ and you just did a flip, send him the track, he's going to have access to the flips as well. Cool. Yeah. Any other flip questions? Yeah.
Besides Flip, let's say, can I use Slicer and then save it onto Flip or no? Like, or is
That would be
different?
so dope.
I
That would
was
be
just
super
thinking,
dope.
I was like,
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It would be great. Yeah, I thought it too. That and Beat Jump, if you could, I mean,
Yeah.
if you could just fully automate everything, it'd be
Yeah.
amazing. Unfortunately, we're not yet. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, we're working towards it. Getting there. We're close though, we're close, right? I mean, think about where we were 10 years ago. This is, you know, definitely taking some steps in that direction. Yes, sir.
That Q quantized thing, I don't quite understand. Does that do anything with Flip?
It can. So let me explain that briefly. So there's a little Q button here, and that's a quantize button. If you go to the setup screen, you have quantize preferences, the quantize value. I set it to 1/4 beat or 16th note. And that can help in making flips. But all it's going to do is going to quantize what's going in. And it's gonna help if you're a little bit ahead of the beat. If you're behind the beat, it can't fix it. You know what I mean? It can't go back in time. It's not a time machine. You can't fix it. But if you get in the habit, if you have like a really complicated flip, and you're not quite nailing it, it's always a little bit wonky, you can turn the quantize on and you kind of get the feel. You like just be in the habit of playing the pads a little bit ahead. But you also get kind of off notes if you're a little bit off. So I was hitting all that a little bit ahead of the beat, and it does. It sounds tighter, you know, so it can be a useful way to do it. Yeah, for sure. And just in general, like, I don't usually have the quantize on, but if I'm going in on some pads, it can be quite cool, you know. You just kind of, it's a little bit of a different feel, I think.
Is it like in one Ableton where it waits until the next 60 comes around and then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the idea. So, I mean, because I've got it set at 1/4, but if we set it, you know, we can go all the way up to 4 beats. You know, so like, yeah, a bar. Just hit it whatever, and it's gonna snap to that.
Well, that's useful if you're doing like a big arrangement, like a house tune for the next bar.
Yep. Yep. If you feel like you wanted to hit it, like go have a quick cigarette and come back to the next one.
What would be the normal reason for turning on quantize? Like what you just said, so that you can do key point work with less or with more wiggle room to mess up?
That's how I use it. That's the main reason.
What's the reason for it to be on? I can't figure out how I would engage it.
Yeah, so for me, triggering cue points is the main reason, and you know that's useful for flip. If you want to make quantized cue points as well, you can turn that on. Meaning, you don't want to go through the effort of zooming right in and like lining up, etc. So you can turn that on, and it's gonna snap to it. So you're like, okay, I'm close enough. I'm gonna hit the cue points. Gonna snap to it. That's quite useful as well for generating quick cue points that are bang on the beat grid. But again, all about the beat grid, right? The beat grid's there, then that should be good. Do you have a question, Tim?
Figures about flip. When you actually have the song set, if you have more than one flip set, which one will it go to originally?
Like upon like track load, and you load the track? Okay, that's a great question. And I forgot to mention, if you have a flip on, and then you say load another track, if I go back to that song, that flip's still gonna be on.
The one that you just left?
The one that you left on. Yeah, so if you start the track and you've left the flip on the last time you load the track, it's going to be there again. It's going to play it. Yeah, so you could have always your go-to flip. You play it the same way every time. You just leave it on, and as soon as you load the track up, it's going to play that flip.
Now, what if you don't want that song to flip at all?
Then
Can you disable that flip?
Yep. So you click that little on button. So that turns it off. That turns it on.
Okay.
That turns the loop on or off. And that'll actually play it. That's like acts like a cue point. Man, I apologize. Sometimes I skip the super obvious stuff and I don't even think about it. So thank you. Any questions like that is really useful. Yeah. Yeah. Any other flip questions? Okay. Let's check out where we at. I can talk very briefly about effects. There's a lot of effects in Serato DJ. There's 56 effects across all the packs. So when you get Serato DJ, you get the base pack for free, and you can also download the Wolf pack for free. And then we also have 3 other packs: the backpack, chip pack, jet pack. I think you can get all 3 of those as an effects kit. Don't quote me, but I believe it's $29. It's a pretty good deal. All these effects have been designed by iZotope. We're familiar with the company, iZotope software company. It's out of Massachusetts. They make some really amazing mastering software. But they've designed these, and they sound really good. Like, I consider myself a little bit of an audiophile and an effects snob, and I do rate these. They sound really good. So, just a couple of things I can show you guys in the setup. Personally, I find 56 effects pretty overwhelming. I don't think I'm ever going to need that many. So what I did was I went through and auditioned them all, and I wrote down the ones I liked. And then I come in here to the setup, and then I can say, I really like this epic reverb. So I click on that, hit add. I think I've already done. I'm going to hit add. And it adds this to this favorite effects list. And then I can click this little use favorite effects list. And what that's going to do is make it way less overwhelming when I use my drop-down menu in here. I love that sound. So now I've got just my go-to effects in here. I don't have to scroll through all 56. I'm not going to play the effects for you guys. I think you should check them out for yourselves. But like the ones that I really like are the breaker and the break echo. I like to punch them into my set real quick. The version echo sounds really good, so it's kind of a more dub style, dotted 8th note pattern delay or echo. The epic reverb sounds really good. Anybody else have any favorite effects that they use?
Echo out.
The echo out, right. So just very functional, take the echo out, great for quick transitions. It's a one button solution for what used to be 2 buttons, right? Like hitting stop and hitting echo. Now it's just 1 button. So that's really good. There's a lot of there's quite a few like noisemaker effects that they just make noise without having anything actually being fed into it. Like the noise synth and noise sweep, that can be quite cool. You can like transform it, do stuff like that. There's some other cool special effects ones that like just completely mangle your tunes. But again, I think I'll leave that for you guys to play around with. And just if you're curious as to what we're looking at here, we have multi-effects mode, which allows you 3 effects per deck. Or if you want to get a little bit more in depth into editing a single effect, you go to single effects mode. You only have access to a single effect, but you have access to all the parameters within that effect if you want to do some more editing.
Any effects that you really like going in depth on the multiple parameter thing?
I don't really. Yeah, I'm not like if in the studio if I'm producing, I definitely do. But like at the gig, not so much. Yeah, but that's just me. Like that's just my approach. So I know other people really get into it and they'll have it set up in a kind of intricate way and they can MIDI map it all and do some quite good stuff. Just like doing kind of dub influence music or something like that. Yeah, for sure. Other effects question? Yo.
Every layer of text on the slide is
Yes, absolutely. Yep. So you can combine the effects on top of the slicer. Let me just see. I don't think my beat was that tight, but that's okay. That sounds very good. Sorry guys, that's not working out for me so well. I'm a little issue with my changing my timing on it. But that's okay. Yes. Yes, you can. Absolutely. All right, let's talk about key shifting, pitch and time, key detection, MIDI remapping, pitch and time. So let me just start with pitch and time real quick and give you guys a quick demo. So pitch and time is an add-on for Serato DJ. Again, I believe it costs $29 US. And if you don't have pitch and time, what you're going to see is this little note icon. And that's, oh, hold up. Let me turn that off. Okay, so we have this little note icon. That's the key lock that comes standard with Serato DJ. And it's cool. It's all right. You can kind of push it up, 10 beats per minute either way. It sounds pretty good. Let's go to internal mode so we can really test this out. I mean, that's minus 50, so that's actually doing kind of okay. But you can hear the gritty and it's warbly and whatnot. Now, if we switch, I'm going to let that play. I'm going to switch kind of as we're listening to, so you can hear the difference. That's pitch and time. Regular time. Who can hear the difference? Hopefully most of that. To me, it sounds pretty buttery. Like, so, pitch and time DJ is a add-on that's basically adapted from our very expensive plugin, Pitch and Time. It's a go-to for a lot of pro users, pro producers, engineers. The software costs $800, but the DJ version costs $29. Sounds, hopefully, as you guys agree, sounds pretty good. What we did with version 1.8 was the last major update before the current one, was we added some features to that. And basically what you can now do is you can key shift with it. Okay, sorry, what was that? Getting lost. So pitch and time, if you have a pitch and time add-on, you can do this key shifting. Let me rewind it a little bit though and explain to you what we added to that 1.8 update. I'm going to unplug. How many of us have already analyzed our libraries for the keys? Be it using mixing key? Okay, cool. A lot of us haven't. So what we suggest doing is reanalyzing the library. Basically what Serato's going to do is going to go through, look at all your tracks and going to detect the key. Now if you've already done a lot of work with your beat grids and the BPM, you probably want to unclick that. You don't want to have to reanalyze, you don't want to risk overwriting any of the work you've already done. So you want to just leave that set key option clicked. And then you analyze the library. If you've got a big library, you probably want to do it when you go to bed, and it'll be ready to go in the morning. We'll plug back in here. And so when you come back in the next day, you wake up and you got, if you don't see the key column here, it's right there. You can get to it by selecting there. You can control click on the top here as well. And what it's displaying is a number and a letter. And what that corresponds to is the Camelot system. And I'm just going to briefly show you guys the Camelot wheel. And it's a pretty clever way of figuring out what keys work together. So if we are all classically trained, you know, took piano lessons, etc., we would know that G minor works with C minor or D minor. I'm not that dude. I need the Camelot wheel. So it's a lot easier for me to look at the Camelot wheel and say, hey, 6A, that's going to work with 5A, 7A, or 6B. So the idea on this Camelot wheel is any adjacent, touching, bordering sections will work together. So 7B is going to work with 7A, 8B, or 6B. 3A is going to work with 2A, 4A, or 3B. So applying that knowledge to our library, we can then figure out that, okay, this underground resistance track theoretically could sound okay with Erykah Badu's Honey over top of it because they are harmonically compatible, if you will. But I think the power in this is first starting with the basics is like you get to go through your music and you get to see what songs are in the same key. So if you got acapellas, it's a perfect situation where you can say, take that flip we did before.
Roll the beat. I don't want you monkey mouth.
And then we take Erykah, and I'm gonna just hit sync, just take a little time.
Never say what you wanna do when you know I'm in love with you. Every time that I turn around, love you, but you can't.
And I know they work because they're both in 9A. I wouldn't know that unless I went through our library.
Who's them what you feel to me? But you so sweet to me. Oh, honey, yeah.
So that, I mean, who's got a lot of acapellas? You're so excited right now. Acapellas are going to take on a whole new life. It's also good, like I do a radio show, I get new songs all the time. You know, when you jam songs together, they may not work together very well, but you can use this feature called key sync that will basically put songs into compatible keys. So let me give you an example of that. Let's take B Train. I'm going to take an acapella. Okay, so 11A on the left deck. Mic back on. 11A on the left deck, 6A on the right deck. Do they sound good together? I've heard worse, but they definitely don't sound that great together. So all I need to do, key sync. I come over here, I click this little note button. Couldn't manage all the damage when the hurt got you put. And it's basically shifted it down one step so that they're in a compatible key. They work together. And that sounds like it's supposed to go together. It sounds like. So that's really good for acapellas, but also just for tracks you just got. You haven't heard them play together before. Let me just try this little key sync and see if they work together. And then you're riding mixes that you were never able to ride before, and they sound harmonically really nice. One bit of advice was, yes, sir.
Oh, yes.
Quick question.
When you hit the key sync, which side is the overriding side? So
Okay.
why did you hit key sync and it shot to 6A as opposed to going to 11?
Say that again, please.
So the original tempo of the acapella is 6A.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't? So when you click the key sync, it jumps to 11A as opposed to jumping the instrumental to 6A.
Because whatever deck I click sync on, that's going to be the one that changes.
That's the one that jumps.
Yeah, it was the same with beat sync.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's important. Like if you're about to mix in a song and you want to key shift it, make sure you key sync the one that people don't hear because it's going to be like, what the hell is happening? Jump three steps. The one bit of advice I was going to give you guys too, though. Personally, I think like if you more than 2 steps, it's gonna start sounding like noticeably like, okay, something's going on. This dude's on helium or something. This is not quite right. But that's up to your discretion. Use your ears. But also, it's a cool effect. If you want it to be quite chop and screw, whatever, then go for it. Push it and bend it as much as you like. Yeah.
If you go on to the next track, next time you play that, is the key sync on? Is it disable itself?
Unfortunately, key sync disables itself.
Well,
So yeah, it turns off. But it's one click to turn it back on.
Right.
It's to be honest, a little bit inconsistent because the regular beat sync will stay on. That will just carry over. But with the key sync, it does disable itself. Yeah. Any other key sync questions? Key shifting. Let me also mention that we introduced advanced MIDI mapping to that version 1.8. So basically what that allows you to do is, originally you could MIDI map to any external MIDI controller, and the process is pretty simple. You click on the little MIDI tab here, and literally all you're going to do is click on whatever feature you want to map, and then trigger or turn or whatever corresponding control on your MIDI controller. But what you can now do is you can map your primary Serato controllers, be that this mixer or a controller. And what I mean by primary is anything that you're basically using as the interface. So in this case, there's a SP1 floating around that is not a primary controller, it's an add-on auxiliary controller. Unfortunately, that is not mappable, it's not the primary controller. The S9 is really cool because you can map it. And it's got some user mode layers in here. So you have, on every one of these pad modes, you've got 8 pads per deck to map any way you want. So what I've done is I've just mapped key shift to these user mode pads. So I can move up and down that way. And you guys can hopefully see there. And I'll turn it off. Just moving up and down chromatically. The other kind of cool hidden feature is the key shift knob, which is only available if you map it. But if I click this here, and I map this to my mic EQ. Hopefully it's not going to blow up the internet here when I do this. I'm feeding back a little bit. But there we go. So basically I've just mapped it to EQ high, EQ low. So EQ high is my left deck, EQ low is my right deck. And now I can do so I've got a range of 1 octave either way. I can do quite crazy stuff. Now we did a shoot with big ups TJ Mizell, big ups Jam Master J. We did a shoot with TJ Mizell last week on the subway, which is amazing. I showed him this feature, we mapped it, and before you knew it, he was just destroying it. And he was getting his mixer and his mix to sound like he was starting a car, like revving an engine. Like he was just, I don't know if it's gonna sound the same right here, but it's like, He was doing way better, honestly. So, like, he said, like, check his chainsaw master. Over top, like an ASAP for So that's a cool little trick. If you guys want to try that, you can map it anywhere. So you said you mapped it to the top here because it's a little bit cumbersome and weird to do it under here. So you can, say you don't use the filters, you can use those filters to be your key shift, whatever you want. It's up to you. Any questions about that? Very briefly, I'll show you too that those settings will store in here. So if you set up custom mapping, you can save that custom mapping. I've saved that as key shift. But if you want to go back to the default, you just click on that and say restore defaults, and it'll go back to whatever the factory settings were for the mini mapping. Yes?
Could you use that mini mapping on the S9 that's not yours? So let's say you went to a club venue and S9.
Yep. So then the mini map, the mini settings will stay in your software, specific to your software. Anybody else using the S9 here? Couple of us. Anybody want to be using the S9? Pretty cool mixer. Let me just quickly talk about that. So,
Giving that away? Giving that away? Giving one away tonight?
It's yours, right? Can we give it away? I guess not. So a couple of the standout features here for I guess most of us in this room are probably really adept at cutting. And that fader, you can basically, on the front here, you can't see it, but there's a feeling adjust. So you can basically change how the fader feels. It can be quite loose, it's easy to pop in and out, or quite tight all the way to the right. We were talking to Jazzy Jeff about this. This was actually one of his suggestions, and part of the reason was he plays a lot of big festivals. He's on a big stage, massive bass bins, and the bass resonating would cause the fader to move over mid-set. And he was like, this sucks, man. It's making me look unprofessional, blah, blah. So he suggested this, and sure enough, so if you're anybody playing big festivals and that's happening, hey, just rock that feeling just all the way to the right to be a little more top. Other great things about this is the first Pioneer mixer with 2 USBs, so that's really good. You can go between 2 computers. It's got some pretty cool hardware effects. So it's pretty standard stuff, echo, reverb. Got a vinyl break on there if you want. This is my favorite one. The backspin. I am being sarcastic. Yeah, I don't know. That seems a little lazy, but it's cool. You can do this. You can. I don't know. It's pretty average. But no, so I take it back. It's a great feature. Love that backspin. You can also customize and assign these yourself. So if you were to hold, say you don't use the echo, you hold the echo, you turn that browse knob, and you have access to other effects that aren't there, just standard. So you can say like you can add you've got a sine wave if you want. So like. Make some bass line. And if I was real sweet on my fader, I could do some crazy pattern, which I can't, but whatever. Some cool stuff in there. Once you install the driver for that, you do have in your applications folder a Pioneer folder and maybe an S9 setting utility, and you can set some preferences in there. So it's quite useful. In the effects bank, so you have options to change there. Any of these effects. You can change the roll-off, like high-pass filter or whatnot on some of these. And you have preferences too. And a lot of these features you have to hold shift to get to in the pad mode, so you can hit press the pad mode buttons twice or 3 times. So that option takes shift out of the equation. It's a lot easier to navigate through the mixer. Hopefully, there's only one of these here. It's your mixer, so I don't know how you feel about people having a jam on it, but so glad you said that. Feel free to step up and check it out. Okay, any questions about the S9? Okay.
So some of the things don't seem to save, like my settings on effects especially don't save in the mixer when I bring it back. Like I like my vinyl break on 1 beat, but I have to move it to 1 beat every time I turn the mixer on and off. That's something I can fix.
I'm not sure. That's something I can send back is for maybe a firmware.
Yeah, when I turn it off, it cycles back to what it is when I started. So even like stuff like parameters, like the length of my loop rolls. If I've got beat jump on, I've only got 4 loop roll buttons, so I move them over so I get the faster loop rolls. And that doesn't stay when I turn it off and on.
That's software specific, and I can say that is it does revert to default.
Right.
Unfortunately, so it's just one of those things you gotta set up at the time. But I mean, it would make sense to have again your kind of your user settings that you go back and forth to. It's good.
That's I want to be able to save it like you can save MIDI.
Yeah, that's good feedback. Thank you. Yeah.
Now, whenever I make a folder in Serato DJ, it always appears at the very bottom of the list.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, it's annoying.
Close it out, it goes somewhere in the middle. It doesn't stay in the same.
Yeah, they rearrange themselves unpredictably.
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes what happens is your library will become corrupted. So if you do notice odd behavior like that, I mean, what you're talking about, that's just the way it is.
But if you want to make a folder, see workshop demos 2016,
I
make a folder in that.
It's a logical expectation. It's not the way it works. But yeah, if you do notice like erratic behavior with your library, it's quite possible that your library database v2 file is corrupted. And one way to avoid this, just as a kind of a side note here, is to make sure you don't have any corrupt files in your library. And I'm pretty sure I don't, but I found 2 today and I got rid of them. So what corrupt files look like is you're going to see a little lightning bolt on this left-hand column. So if you click on top here, you can rearrange your tracks by those icons. If you've seen those lightning bolts, I recommend highly getting rid of them or quarantining them by pulling them out of your library, putting them in a folder, and trying to reconvert them later. But those types of files can really wreak havoc on your library. So there's an article on our forum on our website regarding fixing corrupted database v2 files. So just keep an eye out for that. If your library is acting really weird, that could be what's going on. Before I get into PulseLocker, which is really the last bit that I wanted to talk about for the most part, with a few exceptions. Are there any other general questions while we're progressing?
I don't know if you say this name. It came to me, I wanted to ask you about what your optimization is in terms of like what you use to your computer, like what in terms of just the RAM, just like, very technical things that give you peace of mind during the gig or something.
Yeah. There's a really good optimization article for Mac and PC on the website, which I usually send to artists when they ask me. But the basics are, turn your Wi-Fi off, which goes against what I'm about to show you guys. But turn your Wi-Fi off, turn your Bluetooth off, turn off Spotlight, search, turn off AppNav if you're in a later OS, AppNav if you're in there. This article kind of walks you through everything. The other super obvious one, restart your computer. Don't go into a gig having your computer's been sleeping for 3 weeks and you haven't never closed Serato DJ and it's going to plug in and expect it to work. There's very likely going to be some issues. So always try to restart your computer before you start. That I find fixes literally 50% of the issues that people have with. Like, did you restart your computer? Okay, there it is. All right. Well, look, we'll save a little bit of time at the end. You can go for the hours and change here, so I'm gonna crack on. We'll just quickly show you guys PulseLocker. There's not a whole lot to show PulseLocker. I think PulseLocker is one of those things where the light bulb's gonna go off and you realize, wow, I have access to 44 million songs, and I can download every single one of them if I wanted to onto my computer for $20 a month. So the idea here is PulseLocker is a music streaming service integrated into Serato DJ 1.9. You get a free 2-week trial with that download. And the Pro plan, which you need to use with Serato DJ, is $19.99 a month. Gives you unlimited offline track. So the first thing I thought when we were talking about this streaming DJing, that's going to be a nightmare because it's totally dependent on the Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi of the club. That could be a real nightmare. But having said that, if you do have good Wi-Fi, you can totally stream. I've been practicing with it, and we can try it right now. So I'm going to go into Pulse Locker, and I can search the. Actually, having said that, I'm using your guys' Wi-Fi. So
Yeah, you're plugged into Ethernet.
I'm good. Ethernet. Okay, cool. Now, what you notice is you have this little cloud here. So somebody want to throw a track out to me?
PYT.
Yeah. Is this like white label 2.0?
Maybe I need to put the P dot. There you go. Okay, so this is streaming. So if you see the little cloud icon on the side of the track, that's going to take a minute, and there we go. I'm going to quick create some cue points. Beat drum. It works. It works really well. 320 kilobit per second MP3s. So good sounding MP3s. 44 million tracks from 500,000 labels. Like I said, you can store an unlimited number of tracks offline. Oh, I take it back. That one's 256, but most of them should be 320. You can store them all offline. And to do that, so I've selected that track. Okay, that's sweet. I want that to be in my library. I click Store Offline. It's downloading it like that. It's now in there. So now that I've got that little arrow, it's living on my computer.
Where does it say?
Where is it exactly? In the Serato folder?
It should be the Serato folder. That's a good question. I haven't figured that out. But we can, if we go Control R, it's going to show it. Yeah, okay, temporary. Oh, okay, so there's a Pulse Locker folder. Makes total sense.
So is it an actual MP3 or is it like a scripted file? There's like different scripts written in it, so Serato reads that.
It is. It looks to be. I mean, it's like the file size is consistent with an MP3, but it's not. You don't have full access to it. It's not. You know,
Only
it's no
within the
restrictions.
software.
Only within the software.
And as long as you're paying your
restriction.
license.
What's that?
As long as you're paying your license.
As long as you're paying your license. Yeah.
I like white label.
So it's basically like a white label 2.0. Like an advanced version of white label.
Within the software.
Except you got 44 million tracks.
Yeah.
Except we got more, right?
Yeah. You got all the songs.
Does it play in full quality on offline mode? If you're not plugged into hardware? Because you know how white label plays like a 30.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that in the sense. It's not, it doesn't revert to like 32 kilobit or anything. Yeah. One note is that you can't record mixes with it within the software.
You said you can't?
Within the software. Wink, wink. Within the software. But you can perform with it. Yeah, you can perform with it. So they all live there. The other thing you can't do is you can't create Pulse Locker playlists from within the software. What you need to do is go to the Pulse Locker site, register there. You can create your playlists there, and then those playlists, once they're linked to your account, will turn up. You can see I just made 2 quick ones. They will turn up there. But having said that, you can make crates that you then put any of those Pulse Locker tracks into.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are there like remixes on there? Like, say the Work remix by Mr. Collar Pop. Is that on there? I started to know if I go to my record pool, it's there. Is it in the Pulse Rocker?
Okay, so that 44 million tracks. It's not every song in the world.
No, I know that.
Okay, so this is one thing I will say about Pulse Locker. I had a couple guys over, I was showing them, and they're like, just search Beyonce. And there was a lot of Beyonce cuts that didn't come up, and be honest. Like, not every song is on there, but there's a really good selection of pop stuff, pretty current stuff. It does favor more European, underground, electronic. They've got a lot of, like, really kind of current, like, house stuff, deep house, grime, etc. It's really strong for that. But what was the song you were saying? Like
Work.
Oh, okay, so put this.
And there's lots of remixes by Nolan.
Do you want to name one?
Mr. Carl Park did one.
Spell it for me, please.
C-U-L-L-I.
And computer says no, unfortunately, on that one. But I think the best bet is to see if Pulse Locker works really well. 44 million tracks is no slouch, but I think it comes down to you going onto the website and just seeing if the database works for you. You know, I think, like I said, it favors certain styles of music over other styles, but there's still important stuff in there. And even if it doesn't have everything, I know there's people in here that do weddings, do events.
Right.
You get hit up like, you don't have Rod Stewart. You know, now I got it. Boom, you know, so like it definitely has a older back catalog. It's got tons of stuff, funk, soul, old pop stuff, everything. Yeah.
What about like right now, top 40 up on?
Right.
That's the stuff that gets asked, and I don't have the most. Is whatever just hit the charts last week.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it to you guys to really dig into it, like, because I'm not too sure.
It seems like that's what it would be useful for.
It would be useful for that because this
stuff.
day and age, most of those requests are current things. So take some time and get into it. Have a look at Pulse Locker, but hopefully you see how it works. Just
Now, since we're paying $20, are we keeping the songs or are they still saving?
You're paying for the stream.
We're just paying for the stream, right? We're not keeping the songs actually, as if we were like on part of a record pool.
They stay in there as long as you pay the $20.
License. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you don't have the license, that's it. You don't get.
Yeah.
You don't keep the songs.
Yeah.
They
go
disappear.
back.
They go back. Yeah.
Yeah. Another really cool thing about Pulse Locker is if you start downloading these and storing them offline, and like I quickly just made some cue points. I can make a flip with PYT. I can make loops on that. Those will all save there. And if I like my computer's full of offline tracks, so I want to like put them back to Pulse Locker, all that data is still going to stay in my library. So if I go back 3 weeks later, I say I need PYT for this gig, I store it offline again. All that metadata is going to reattach to the track, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? I've been talking a lot. Noticing a couple yawns, looking at watches, so we can wrap up relatively soon. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff on here. There's Serato Video. There is Sync. There's Club Kit. There's HID mode with the CDJs. There's Smart Breaks. A couple other tips and tricks. So if there's anything else you guys want to talk about, happy to open it up and do a couple more demos, or we can call yes, sir.
I guess the majority of us in here are DJs. So are there clean versions or dirty versions? Or are they like labeled specifically?
On Pulse Locker?
Yeah.
I haven't spent that much time on it. Yeah, so I think it'd be good to go in there. But we can, happy to have a look. You want to give me
Rihanna.
I see B better have my money, and I see bitch better have my money.
Which one?
Rihanna, bitch better have my money, or B better have my money. I don't know.
Okay, so it is there, but it doesn't look to have the clean version.
No, it didn't.
Oh, it did?
So when I typed
had
in
the asterisk.
when I typed in Rihanna, it has.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you see it?
Yeah.
There's
So,
no asterisk.
Oh, that's
so
why.
there's no way of other than them Xing out the curse word.
Okay.
That it's clean. It doesn't tell you.
Like, you see how that one has an instrumental and.
So let's play it and see.
Play it and see. That's the only thing that's.
Yeah. You doing it?
Yeah.
That's the asterisk.
They were too afraid to write it, but they was
But then it has one that says visual. Why would they do one and do the other?
Hey, this is all good feedback.
Add the, if you don't mind, I don't want to seem like I'm giving you directions. Hold on a second, sister. Add the album in the columns, because that could also be another thing that we could look at. I don't know if anybody plans on using post office. You have like albums.
Let's say parent device.
It might say like how iTunes.
Okay, it does says edited. It does says edited version, but it does.
It might say single, like how iTunes might be like, oh, single.
But it's not for that track. It doesn't say it for that track, particular track. See, this says edited version, but it's a different song.
It's basically the same license.
So I have to find one that's. Edit. So I see some that says explicit, some says edited, but not particular for that track. So if I wanted to play that track clean,
yeah,
I'd probably be in trouble.
I mean, this literally came out 2 weeks ago. And Pulse
probably
is a
gonna
really
start
new company, so this is all really good feedback. You know, if people are gonna spend $20 a month, they want, and that's what people are asking for, then they need to hear that. So happy to pass that on to our channels. Yeah, I mean, anything else? Yes, sir.
If you stop your subscription for like whatever reason, just for a short period of time, like say a month, say you just like stop for a month, and then you renew your subscription, will all your like saved playlists and stuff still be there, or would you have to set all that up again?
I don't know, but I would imagine the answer would be yes, but I'm not sure. There's probably an FAQ page where you can find out. Yeah.
They should do an annual. They don't. You have to do it bi-monthly. Maybe they should do it quarterly.
Payment options.
Every quarter, like every 3 months.
Yeah. Does anybody have any other questions? I did talk about videos, a couple of things, but we can save that for another one. Yes.
So one of my biggest things of like switching over to Serato DJ is I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but I noticed that Serato DJ boots up a lot faster than Scratch Live. But when I search, like if I go to search all, in Scratch Live things pop up instantly for me. In Serato DJ there's like 2-3 second delay. Is that something you guys experience, or is this just me?
What I mean, I know what you're talking about. What I think I guess Serato decided to do is instead of it freezing, because a lot of us might have big libraries, and Serato's trying to process all that data with multiple characters in it. Serato DJ, I guess, waits till you finish whatever you're searching for to then process that information so you don't get a crash or a freeze. That's my best.
Yeah, I don't actually know the answer to that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
I know what you're talking about because it's happened to me before.
I know that it handles the libraries different, and especially like I've done troubleshooting with artists, and like it loads up at different speeds. You know, like Scratch Live actually loads the library a lot slower.
Right.
Than DJ, but the search function, and you're saying it's quicker in Scratch Live, so. They're different. I mean, they're different platforms. They're quite similar on the outside, but underneath they're very different. So there will be kind of discrepancies there. I think that's really true. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So I guess in terms of library management, I noticed you created your own crates. So like, let's say you want to add one extra song to like a Scratch demo beat jump. You're gonna have to like, let's say you're gonna have to manually kind of drag that into that crate.
Yeah.
So
Please don't use my organization system.
Yeah.
Yes. I like never have enough time. Like thinking I'm doing these workshops, it's gotta look tidy, and they never do. But yeah, it's literally just dragging and dropping. But the Smart Crate function is a great way, much like Smart Playlists in iTunes, to organize your files by whatever, really, by genre, by BPM, artists. You just create rules, and it will sort all that.
There's like no feature yet. Like let's say you add it to its like actual physical folder for Serato. Unless it's in iTunes, it won't pick it up automatically. You have to keep drag and drop.
He wants his crates to mirror his computer's folders like it would on an
like on iTunes, when it mirrors a playlist.
Oh,
For
right.
example, once you add a song to that playlist, Serato knows, okay, here's the file path.
Right, you're saying that there's not corresponding folders to create.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, organizing different. I mean, if you're partial to that mode of organization, I'd say keep using iTunes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a little more free and Esquire, do you have a question?
I do actually. I was a little busy with they just rock out. My question is there any word on the El Capitan driver issue that's been going on? Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
So yeah, okay. So I didn't tell you guys I do artist relations, and my phone and email have been blowing up for like 3-4 months because people updated to El Capitan, but they had Rain hardware. And while we came out and said we support El Capitan, Serato DJs, and we work with El Capitan, the big asterisk, which wasn't big enough, was certain hardware is not yet supported, and Rain was the big one. So until very recently, all the Rain hardware was having some serious issues, audio dropouts, and really glitchy stuff with El Capitan, Serato DJ. And people didn't know it. And it was happening at the gig, and people were freaking out, rightly so. The good news is that if you have updated to the latest version of El Capitan and you go to the Rain website, you can download the latest drivers. We do endorse and can say it works with the 60 series, so those are good. We are doing our own testing. Now, Rain has come out and said that it works across the board with everything except for the SL2 and SL4, and they're still working on that. We're waiting to independently verify that on our end. The 60 series is good. The SL3 is good, except there's like a workaround thing. It's actually quite complicated and a pain in the ass, but you can get it to work and it will work. But my advice still is hold off. If you haven't updated, wait just a little bit longer because we want a real fix across the board as opposed to little patchwork fixes. You know what I mean? So the good news is there are some fixes and the rest are imminent. Yeah. And thank you for your patience.
What's the one in the room, Esquire?
62.
It was staticky for jumping on me today.
Yeah.
And I have El Cap.
Okay, so it should be good now. Update to the latest version of El Cap 10. And did you get the driver? The new driver?
I downloaded the driver automatically when I plugged it in. It told me to download the driver to it.
I think there's a new driver that may not be bundled with Serato DJ. I'm not
Okay.
sure on that. You have to go to the Rain site.
Okay, maybe that was it.
Yeah. So test that out. And these guys got my number, so if you need to call me, I can help more. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? Oh, anybody want to come up and have a jam?
Let's
go!
I've used it. Anybody who hasn't used it, go up there.
Come on, that's fire.
Yeah, we did like fold it up and then people actually come up. So no pressure. Anyways, thanks so much. It's been really good hanging out with you guys. Hopefully we get to do some more. Oh yeah, let's do giveaway.
Did everyone sign this?
I didn't.
Everyone sign in? Well, I mean, was your scratch employee?
I mean,
fire him and then he can.
Yeah, you
but
can get all
everyone's here had a chance to
Like,
sign
I
this.
think
We're about to do
like
giveaways based on this. If they haven't signed this, I'm gonna give you guys like 2 seconds. Just raise your hand up. But I have this. This is like the world's smallest like little ticket system right here. There's just 30 little tabs of paper in there. So just pull one out.
30 little tabs.
We got a number.
Oh my God.
There's so much time.
Those, don't get those.
So what are you giving away?
Okay, so we have 5 shirts or sweatshirts of various sizes. We have 5 pieces of control vinyl. And we have 5. So we got 15 prizes, so most people go on the prize. We have 15 licensed
prizes.
Oh, wow.
2 licenses of your choice. So basically, most people are number 4.
Number 4 is my man DJ Quest.
Do you want a control vinyl or shirt, sweatshirt?
Wavy vinyl, what you got?
It's straight black. No, we got Premier, Public Enemy.
Got options.
I can't remember those. And there's like a couple color performance vinyl.
Yeah, I'll go with the control vinyl.
Control vinyl.
That's nice.
Cool.
You know what I mean? Excuse me. This is everything you need, right? That's everything.
Quest. The quest to the prize. That's the quest, no pun intended.
Always.
Oh wow. Okay, we got blue, green, Public Enemy, or Premier.
Picture this.
Wow.
Nice.
Stay there.
Okay, number 17.
17 is a scratch employee, Ben Miller.
That's the funny part.
That's why it's
Goes up in the front telling everybody like, yeah, go ahead and sign it.
You want a shirt?
We let it go. Come on up.
Yeah, what size is it?
Oh, come on, it's not fair. I'm gonna sign it.
Put me on.
That's fine with me.
Put
You
me
gotta
on.
put it
I want
number
a shirt.
28
29, 18, 30?
Got me 30.
Okay, next up.
Add 30 to the shirt.
Oh!
Okay, what's the next one?
Next one is 7.
Number 7.
Woo!
Shout out to Jenna. Hello, it's Jenna, number 7.
Final swag or licenses? Maybe circle it and I'll email you. You can tell me what you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll
Nice.
generate tomorrow.
Got the happy dance.
Cool.
Got the jerk dance.
We can keep it good to go.
3.
Number 3? Destiny Simpson?
Yes.
Yes.
Right here.
There you go.
Now I already got finals. Let me get a t-shirt.
T-shirt.
I like only, what size do you?
You don't have black? Okay.
Making him big muscle.
A medium. What's that?
It's like a kind of a thin shirt and it says Serato on the side.
Okay.
That's all you got. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
What's the next number?
Can I just pick them?
Yeah, dude, just pick them.
14.
14? I like that. 14 is my man Rolly Rowe.
Hey!
We have vinyl.
Vinyl?
Yeah.
Primo, Public Enemy, or Public Control Line?
We get Primo.
I'm gonna bring it to him. I know he's recovering right now. You know what I'm saying?
I'll hold it for you, Rolly. I'll hold it for
We
you.
can hold it for you.
Never get it back.
What's the next number, man?
1.
Number 1.
Thank you.
Genesis.
Hey.
That's a
Public Enemy #1.
Nice. I think it's Marvel too.
Yeah.
So you can see that 31 is something. Yeah.
31.
31 is my man Fingersmith Tyler.
Woo!
See? Skip that's why.
Come on!
How is that possible?
I want the PE.
Public Enemy?
Yeah,
All right.
for sure.
All right.
Jeez.
Amazing.
6.
Number 6. Daniel Criado.
That's me.
There we go. License.
It's cool. I'll follow up with you
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Circle your email. Cool.
12.
Number 12. Sushi.
Can I get a vinyl?
Nice.
Last one.
You knew you were
I ain't mad at that.
16.
16.
I'm not mad at it.
Roberto.
See, if I walked through the door inside now, I would have been 16.
I'm having problems reading the last name. Roberto Sade, license. Serving in Reno. Congratulations. Woo. 22. No, we haven't. Daniel B, B-E-L-T. I can't read the rest of that. Beltran. Yeah, which size?
Swag.
Medium.
Medium. And you got this sweatshirt or this design.
Wait, what's that? Okay.
Yeah, no, that's only medium.
That's cool.
29.
Oh, yeah.
20.
Small? You don't have a small shirt?
Take the lot, I think.
You don't have any more vinyl?
Nah.
Does that already have
Nah. And then you can throw it back. You can just pay it forward. It'll come back to you later.
It's true.
Okay.
Okay, I'm circling. And I need your email. You can write that down later. So you have it. All
Are
right,
you supposed to log on to
keep it moving.
Yeah.
I got you.
26. Hello, is Gerald.
Wait,
Yeah.
You
guys are killing us.
Are there any more mediums? No. Well, I only have extra large and large.
I'll take a large. There we go.
Okay, cool.
Okay. We made it fair in the winner's circle today. All right, I'm gonna go randomly looking at the first page. I'm gonna take number 7. 7 has been picked. 7 has been picked. That was you. Let's go with number 8. My man Robzilla. Rob Kelly.
What you got, license?
License
Like
or
a pumpkin?
XL.
Get that XL, man.
Yeah.
Match your beanie. Match your beanie.
We got, I think like 3 more votes.
3 more.
20.
That ain't fair, B.
How
you get picked after the fact?
Right here.
There we go. Okay. Boom.
Licenses.
Licenses. We got 2 more. 19. My man Shelly. Number 19.
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
I got it, Matt. Yeah.
Wow, check you out. Let's give it up for him. Who we paying it forward to? 20's already won, so we're gonna pay it forward to the next one. Number 21.
28.
My man Patrick. Pat, where you at?
Very good. Now we have an extra large sweatshirt or license. I'll do license.
Okay, cool. All right, email is circled. I think it's the last one, right? 28. Subtle.
There you go.
Lucky 13, man. Lucky 13. My man DJ Marvel.
Hey.
There we go.
Hey.
What size?
Yeah. Like mediums. Is there any way I can get a license?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
All right, guys. Maybe I'll get all the shirts.
They're taking the shirt.
You're gonna get the shirt. You can trade it for a license if you want to, but that's on you.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. So we basically get them all the way. We've got 5 licenses, so I'll follow up with everyone tomorrow.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay.
Who's extra large? First hand.
XL. Boom.
Extra large.
I'll take it.
So guys, real quick, I mean, this was sort of an intimidating situation where we have the turntables, everyone's sitting in their chairs staring at you, but if you haven't gotten your hands on the S9 yet, please come back behind our station. Let's make a little bit of noise for the next 15 minutes. Cool. Play around. You're there from the band Recloose. Shout out to people on the stream. Thank you for tuning in to us. We appreciate that. We're doing another one soon. And yeah, let's make some noise.
Yo, give it up for Matt right here.